So I want to respond to this comment on my YouTube channel. I think this is a comment on the video I did, a video concerning 407 and 607. Okay, so this from Ibrahim Dodo. He said, Lion King, I really appreciate your lecture on this particular video. I also want to change my 607 phase 2 engine from EW12 to EW10 due to the increase in fuel price in Nigeria. What is your advice on this? Okay, so let me I think I might need to explain some things before I can respond to your question. So when it comes to conversion, what I usually do is, let's assume I want to do a conversion. Sometimes it takes me a while before I start the conversion. I do research, and that research could take days, weeks, or months, or even over a year. And how do I start the research? Is by asking some critical questions. Sometimes the questions are like left for me to answer by myself. Then the ones I do not have the answers, then I'll go online. I do that, start to research on it, so that I won't end up jumping into it only to realize that it wasn't going to be possible. At least the method I wanted to use for the conversion probably wouldn't have been possible. But if I had given it a thought or studied that those questions that I didn't have answers to, maybe I would have seen a better way of doing it. So in this case, I'll start by asking these questions, or responding some of the answers I already know. Now, your car is, like you say, is phase 2 607, which is known as Z9. And they said it has a EW12J4 engine, so which means the 2.2 engine, petrol engine there, is the 3FY version of the EW12, not the 3FZ. So now the 3FY version, the wiring connection, the injection system is different from that of the 3FZ. So they are not the same. The ECUs are not the same. Now the 3FY version, it has a similar wiring connection or injection system to that of RFJ system, RFJ injection system. RFJ is a system you find Peugeot vehicles with EW10A engines. So, in fact, if I hope that I'm correct, or I remember correctly, the ECU, the injection ECU, um, is almost similar. In fact, they look alike. Like I said, I hope I'm correct because I know I've done this search before. So the ECU of the RFJ and 3FY are basically same based on by the appearance. What I mean is, when you look at the connection, the connector, where the wiring connectors are plugged in, they're almost the same design, unless I'm mistaking it for a different injection system. But I know for a fact that the 3FY injection system ECU and the 3FZ ECU, they are not the same. The connectors are different. So you can't interchange the ECU on both vehicles with these two engines, 3FZ and 3FY. Even the wiring harness are also different. I'm talking about engine ECU. The engine wiring harness, or what we just on a short or say engine wire. So if you now want to do this conversion, now remember, look at how I broke it down by asking these questions and then try to find answers to the system. So if you now want to do this conversion, you realize that the easiest way to do it might be to use the EW10A, because you said EW10, but I want to assume is the common one that people usually call EW10 is the EW10J4 engine. That's what they are referring to most times when they say EW10. In fact, especially Nigerians, almost all the time, like 99.9%, once a Nigerian says EW10 is referring to the EW10J4, not the EW10A or EW10D. So um it now look as if it might be much be easier. In fact, let me do it in a different way. The easiest conversion you can do, if you, because what you want to do is to downgrade. You say you want to downgrade from the 2.2 to 2.0 because of higher fuel consumption of the 2.2, which I understand. Now, to do that, the cheap, okay, I might not say the cheapest, it could be the cheapest, but the easiest and the fastest conversion to do would be to do it with the EW10A. You know why? The exhaust system are similar. The exhaust manifold, I'm not saying they're identical, but they are, for looking at them, they all look alike. You can't even tell it. So in other words, you can remove this and put this one without even noticing the difference. Though you could say when you look at it, the EW12J4, the 3FYO might be maybe a little bit bigger. I haven't actually taken time to compare the both. But like I said, they're almost as if they are the same design. So you don't even need to touch the exhaust. So it basically will be the same. You just plug and play. But if you go with E3FZ, unless you now decide, okay, I'm going to use the 3FY exhaust on 3FZ, which is possible. All you need to do is remove the exhaust manifold on the 3FZ, which is different from 3FY, and then bolt in the 3FZ. Or even if it's the EW10J4, yeah, you could still remove that exhaust manifold of the EW10J4. I hope that will work. Then you bolt in the 3FY exhaust manifold, which is same. I would say it's the same, but not identical, but the same. Probably no, I don't think it's identical. I think I've checked the part number. They are not the same. So you could bolt in. I want to believe it will be able to work. I'm talking of the length of the exhaust manifold of that. I hope so. I don't know for sure. So maybe that could be another way to do that. But my point is, it will be just so fast if you use EW10A. Just do plug and play. So you won't even need to touch anything or most of the things. Of course, you will change some things, but I'm just saying in terms of the exhaust, you won't have to. It will be almost the same. Now the wiring harness is where it might be tricky. It's possible it could be the same. I haven't really checked, but I know the connect. Like I said, the injection system is similar. The wiring connections are also similar. So it's possible that you could modify the wiring harness of your 3FY engine, the current one on the car, um, so that you could work with EW10A. But the only thing I know is EW3FY EC will not work with RFJ engine, because I remember the camshaft position sensor on the RFJ engine, that EW10A, is on the intake. Is the intake camshaft that controls the camshaft position sensor, while the 3FY, I hope I'm right. I know 3FZ, RFN, I'm not talking about EW10J4, EW12J4, 3FZ. Is the camshaft position sensor is controlled by that of exhaust camshaft. So I'm trying to remember how that of the 3FY, where the sensor is mounted. I can't even remember. Yeah, I can easily find out. I have the diagram anyway. I'll just take a look and confirm. So, but it's not a problem. Like I say, it's just worst case you extend the wire, or you just buy the harness. So the reason why I'm saying EW10A is the what we call dashboard wire might not need to be touched. It could be, I don't know, but I'm saying based on their similar injection system. So it's as if you don't need to touch any other thing. Just you need to probably will change the wiring harness. Look, remember, I'm not saying for a fact. I've not done any study in terms of converting 3FY to RFJ. No, I've not done that. I'm just using the knowledge I have on both injection systems. So as for the dashboard wire, I've not gone that part to know, but I know the connections supposed to be the same in terms of the connectors from the engine ECU, the engine wiring harness to the ECU, then the one they call dashboard wire to the fuse box, the BSM, and the rest. So it will just be the easiest one to do. I hope I'm right. Unless maybe when I study on it, maybe I might start seeing some differences, and maybe some of the things I say here might not be right. I'm just but thinking out of just right now as I'm doing this video, what I know about those things, it should be the easiest conversion to do from 3FY EW12 to RFJ EW10A. Now, I know most time people will prefer the people are scared of EW10A because if you don't get it right, you will hate that vehicle, especially this kind of conversion. So most times it's easier to use EW10J4 for this kind of conversions because probably might be able to work around it, bypass one or two. But for RFJ, wow, EW10A is even more sensitive than, I don't know, the I can't say it's more sensitive. It seems to be more sensitive than EW12J4, to be honest, the EW10A. So it's not an engine you can mess with. It's like the connection. Um, so if you now want to use EW10J4, the one that might be difficult might be, in fact, both of them might be difficult. I'm talking about the one EW10J4 that uses manual throttle body, which you find in 406 and some 307, early 307, or some, let's just say some 307 with that engine. While some 307 with that EW10J4 engine also uses motorized throttle body, that's the electronic throttle body. While 407 with that engine also use electronic auto, that MTB. So I don't know both of them because even though you could say, okay, let's use 407 EW10J4 using MTBs, since 3FY is also MTB, the connection might be easier. It might not be because the ECU is different, the dashboard wire not the same. So I'm trying to figure out, you might need to do a lot of cut and join for it to work. I've not studied the wire of EW10J4 to know how it can work on, um, let's say, the easiest way to put this, I've not done a study on EW10J4 ECU in 406 to know if it can work in 407. If you mount it on 407 to use a manual throttle body in 407, and you're now swapping the ECU on 407 that uses MTB. So the ECU will not be the same, the wiring connection won't be the same, and I don't know how the dashboard works because remember, the you have to run the connection in such a way that it will do away with the accelerator pedal sensor. Remember, on 407, the throttle pedal is actually the accelerator pedal sensor. So you have to do some. Is it doable? Yes, but that's why it won't be the easiest conversion compared to EW10A. So whether it's the MTB EW10J4 you want to use, or manual throttle body EW10J4 ECU, I don't think it will be easy. Like I said, it's doable. There are people that can figure it out. I probably might be able to figure it out when I give it a thought and some read to check the system, study the both systems. But right now I don't know. So the only one that comes to mind because of the similarity of the injection system is that of EW10A. But then the risk involved is most people even hate that engine because um, it's not it doesn't tolerate like EW10J4 would tolerate some nonsense people do in Nigeria on those engines, especially their injection system. So EW10A will not give you even a small vacuum leak is enough to go into limp mode. Unlike EW10J4, it can have vacuum leak and engine will still be running accelerating, but EW10A will not. Likewise, even 3FY, you are using 3FY, you also know that if there's a vacuum leak, it will give you same issue or something similar. Okay, so um, well, that is it on the injection system side, the electrical. Even that, before I conclude on the electrical, the if your farm wiring connection is factory and you want to retain it factory, it might be easier to do it with the EW10A ECU, because like I said, um, the injection system is similar, so the connection I expect it to be similar. So it most likely might be plug and play. I will only be wrong unless maybe the connectors on the EW10A, the RFJ ECU and the 3FY ECU are not the same. I'm saying the design, they look like almost the same, unless I'm mistaking it with somewhere else. So it's most likely the connection to the fan from the RFJ ECU will work on 607, because basically most likely it's the same. Otherwise, if you use the other ones, you will now be forced to bypass the connection to your fan, and now it will run directly and start spinning as soon as you start the car or switch on ignition. Unless you have to now do other conversions like you buy aftermarket, what's it called? Thermostat, and the one use it to run the fan. But then AC, you also need to. So it will make it more complex or complicated. So um these are the things, like I said, when it comes to conversion, these are the things. You see, there was a video I did. Was it a video? I think it was a video, or maybe an article. I can't remember. Or was a post or audio message concerning people doing conversions, like 508, 308, 207, converting it from THP engines to what's it called? THP engine to EW10, TU5JP4 and all that. You know, I said the only person that will be able to convince me that he can do that conversion is the electrical person, the electrical technician that will do that work. You could tell how I'm speaking, what I'm saying now, breaking down. I know some people might not understand some of these jargons I'm using, but like if somebody else who is into the technical part of cars understand, will know what I'm talking about. If you hear me speak as I'm saying this, you know, okay, this guy know what he's saying. Yeah, call me and say I'm boastful, but yeah, I know what I'm saying because I understand those systems to a large extent. So I'm just speaking right now as in, without even looking at any book or anything. This is what I know so far. So, but to do the conversion, then I need to go deep. So if you now want to do this kind of conversion, you have to consider the fact that the connection to the fan might not work anymore. So if you want it to work, you have to look at which ECU that can still retain the factory connection or work with the engine or work with the fan wiring connection. Or is there any way you can still make it work? In that case, you might now need the engine, the wiring diagram. Not of that, not necessarily of, yeah, maybe, but not necessarily of the Z9 own, but the ECU or whichever engine you want to use. Maybe the RFN or EW10J4 ECU, that maybe the MTB or the non-MTB one. You check, okay, because these ECUs control the fan. just like the Z9 EC also controls the fan. So the connection to that fan, which wire or connector does it go onto for the 3FY or and RFN, then also the RFJ. So I know. Yeah, yeah, I'm just breaking this thing down. I want people to understand what it means to do conversion. These are not your 504 that are basically analog, manual, everything mechanical. You just remove, plug in, that's all. You call an electrician, it will run one wire from this to this to ignition coil, from ignition coil to distributor, crank engine starts running. No, this is just complex. You might do this thing, your ABS will stop working. This one will stop working. This power steering will stop working. Remember, your power steering is electric, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it mechanical? I don't know. I can't remember. Okay, no, it should be mechanical on Z9. I don't think so. I can't remember. But it's okay. Let's say it's mechanical. It's 407 that no, it should be electric. So some things might start because they all work together. So once they cannot see this connection from one module to another, it becomes a problem. So if you can do it, can you be able to make it work? Can you be able to reconnect so that ABS or ESP or this and that or every other system can still work? Anyway, electrical aside, other things are involved, like yeah, the gearbox is okay. Gearbox will work. The gearbox of 3FY will work on the 2.0 engine. 6 speed though, so it work. Um, but then you need to swap the. So if you are going to do that, remember you need to remove the gearbox mount bracket, the lower one, the one they call shaft hanger. Make sure you must the one from your engine, your current one on your E3F Y EW12 engine must go onto the 2.0 engine you are putting, because the drive shafts are not the same. It will not work. The drive shaft, as long as you are retaining that gearbox, the 6-speed manual gearbox, the MLCC, you must retain that. What's it called? Hopefully, it will be able to fit in on the. Yeah, it should anyway. I'm trying to remember. So, that is for. So you don't necessarily need to touch anything in terms of the transmission. It remains same. The cables, gear cable, pedal, every other thing remains same. The clutch, everything remains same. So in fact, the only thing probably what I'm looking at you touch is just the engine that you remove, put another one. Of course, the accessories, not everything is the same. The ignition coil, not the same. Um, if you are using EW10A, the connector I think should be the same with 3FY ignition coil. It's only even if it's not identical, but it's almost similar, if I'm not mistaken. Um, a few other things, trying to remember some. Is the when I sit down and start writing or bring picture of the boat, I can start seeing the differences. Okay, this one might need to better, but so it will be much easier to do that. Mechanically, you are not going to change much. Trust me. Yeah, best only thing you can do, like I said, the exhaust, you might not need to touch anything on the exhaust. The transmission, the drive shaft, the every other things stay the same. Radiator stay the same. The hoses, all the hoses stays the same. The few might have to be, depending on the engine you are going to use, you may have to modify one of the hoses or the radiator, from radiator to the thermostat housing. So but those are minor things. So those are the areas you could say, okay, fine. Engine mount will change. Um, engine mount, yeah, will change. The topmost on the right side will change. Um, Then that lower one, you are not touching it. Okay, so those ones are minor. They won't be your headache self, you know. Maybe there are other major things I'm not remembering right now, but I don't think so. You know, your area of focus where he will be the electrical. That's where if you don't get it right, wow. So you won't really spend much if you are going to do this conversion. You won't spend much, and of course, if you are doing it, you need to buy complete engine, not like buy skeleton. You need to buy complete. Some things might not match. Um, some things might not match. If I start remember, like fuel injectors are not the same. Well, ignition coil, this and that, you know. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. So it's not up to you. I'm not here to advise you to whether it's worth it to do the conversion or not. I'm just giving you, okay, if you want to do the conversion, it's doable, but um these are risks involved. So whoever that will do that conversion, the electrical part of it is the person you should focus on, not the person that will do the mechanical. So yeah, they will tell you, oh, yeah, we've been doing that too until it's done. Most times you now find it difficult that you can't even easily reverse it anymore, because at that point they've butchered the wiring harness. You now realize that the only way for this to work is to go and look for another wiring harness completely if you want to reverse and put back your EW12, because the manner they butcher the wire, do the so many cut and join, you won't want it anymore to reuse those wires, you know, depending on how they did it. So um I think that's basically, of course, eventually they will have to pair the ECU or whichever engine they want to use to the BSI unit. So the person that will do it has to be good at it. It's doable, but so in my point, you don't need to change your BSI because there's no BSI for Z9 with ECU complete that can run EW10J4, EW10A. So it has to be, you have to work with that. So yeah, EW10A ECU can be very tricky when it comes to pairing it with another BSI that I wasn't programmed with from new. So I have to be careful. Um, but it's doable. But one thing about some of this pairing is sometimes they will do, what's it called? Is it free code? That free code thing. One thing I've noticed sometimes on that engine EW10A, when they do it, the fan will no longer work as factory, no matter what you do. It will just keep spinning constantly. So um, I don't know. It's up to you. I'm giving you. There may be things I've forgotten. Maybe very, very important, significant things I'm supposed to mention, but maybe I'm not remembering them now. Uh, I don't know. So it's up to you. But the electrical matters more in this conversion. Okay, so hope that answers your questions.